Have you ever tried something completely new? Stepped out of your comfort zone? Well, I recently did, and let me tell you, it was very uncomfortable. And a lot of negative self-talk bubbled to the surface, and it was something I wasn't completely expecting to happen. However, I'm very proud of myself that I did.
I can't believe I did it.
It made me realize that a lot of us like to retreat to these safe places that make us feel competent. For me, that's graphite pencils, where I know how to read the darks, the lights, and the midtones. But recently I decided to step out of my own comfort zone and shatter that safety net, forcing myself to learn something new. And I decided to learn colored pencil. It's been a frustrating but pretty humbling process. And while I was in this creative process of learning colored pencils, I found myself watching my dog Stewie. He's getting old. He just turned 15 years old, and I've watched him over the last couple of years transition into an older man. He's having a difficult time with it, as are the rest of us, trying to navigate what it's like to take care of an old pet. Today I want to talk about the art of starting things over, the discomfort of learning new things and stepping outside of your comfort zone, and what our animals can teach us about having grace for the in-between. If you missed the first part of this drawing, you can click the link up in the right corner for the first video in this series. We gravitate toward the things we are good at because mastery is comfortable. It's a warm blanket against that vulnerability of being seen as a novice. And yet, neuroscience tells us we are doing ourselves a disservice by retreating into what we already know. Studies on cognitive aging show that actively pushing your brain to grapple with entirely new skill sets, forcing it to build brand new neural pathways, acts as a profound shield against cognitive decline, lowering the risk of Alzheimer's and dementia. Growth requires friction. It requires the deep, uncomfortable ache of feeling utterly incompetent. We all hate being beginners. We tend to recoil from that clumsy, stumbling phase of learning something new. I was paralyzed by the thought of introducing color to this piece. I spent an entire week practicing on scrap paper, staring at the results with a sinking feeling in my chest. Everything looked flat, muddy, and, well, frankly stupid. I could feel the frustration, whispering the oldest lie in the book.
Just put the colored pencils down and go back to what you're actually good at.
Every instinct screamed at me to retreat to safety, to abandon the colored pencils and salvage my dignity with a clean, familiar graphite finish.
I want my dignity!
I was ready to call myself a failure. Is there something that you've desperately wanted to learn to try, but the fear of being terrible at it's kept you from starting? Let me know in the comments. As I sat there, letting the weight of my own perfectionism press down on me, I looked across the room at Stewie. Consider how our own pets handle the indignities of aging. Their bodies shift beneath them in ways they didn't even ask for. Their eyes get cloudy, their joints stiffen, and the simple, effortless mechanics of their youth, like vaulting onto that couch or sprinting across the grass, begin to demand a deliberate, agonizing effort. They don't throw tantrums. They don't sulk in the corner, paralyzed by the embarrassment of no longer being able to do things the exact way they used to. They simply adapt. They slow their pace. They accept the awkward, halting transition phase without a shred of ego. They take life one step, one breath, and one clumsy moment at a time. We, on the other hand, we wage war against every single inch of our own learning curve. We demand mastery on day one.
And you demand perfection.
I've never seen perfection.
And we punish ourselves mercilessly the second we misstep. Our pets carry none of that toxic perfectionism. They quietly remind us that being slow, awkward, and terribly unpolished isn't a moral failure. It is simply the mandatory cost of admission for any real growth. Did I just create a colorful masterpiece? I think far from it. It's not quite what I imagined it to be, but for the first time, I'm actually enjoying that messy, stumbling process of figuring it all out. And more than the art itself, I'm proud of the quiet rebellion of staying in that chair, picking up that pencil, and choosing to keep going even when it was painful. Because at the end of the day, whether we're learning a new medium, retraining a tired brain, or watching our oldest companions navigate the winter of their lives, the grace isn't in arriving at perfection. It's in having the courage to be clumsy in the dark. Thanks so much for listening, and see you in the next one.